All right, hello wine-drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And our good friend Florent from Vinecraft was in to see me with some, hey man, you want to start your tasting with champagne? I will see you early in the morning, late in the night, whenever you want to stop by, especially when it's great stuff like this Henri Giraud, which is a Grand Cru and one of the funkiest bottles that I've seen coming out of Champagne. It's definitely not going to fit in our racks. That's why we don't have it here right now. But hey, if you'd like to order it, it is some pretty good stuff, especially if you like Krug, a more full-bodied style of Champagne, a barrel-fermented style. This is a non-vintage wine, but it's a blend of 2003, 2005, and some older vintage reserve wines, 75% Pinot Noir and 25% Chardonnay, barrel-aged, a good amount of that yeast autolysis. Even though I don't know how long it was spent on the yeast, you really notice that toasty, biscuity, yeasty aromas, some candied apricots and quince-like fruit, candied ginger spice, some nutty aromas here. Very complex bouquet, and, even better on the second day. Of course, Champagne loses its bubbles, but the bouquet and the complexity still changes just like a fine wine. This one had a lovely creamy texture here on the first day, of course, with those bubbles, and then the flavors coming through from the nose, echoing through the finish, that ripe candied fruit, lemon, peach, ginger spice, pretty floral notes, some honey notes coming out in this wine also, and that tingly mineral-laced finish. Really long, 50 seconds or longer, most excellent juice, and it's $180. This wine is not cheap, but it's really good. Dirty and Rowdy, Semillon. All right, well, it's 80% of this wine was fermented on the skins. The rest done in concrete egg fermenters, and the grapes are coming from Yountville and Napa on their own. They own their own vines, and they also do a little Mourvedre. This wine's a little bit cloudy, like the owners, who obviously are in another world. I mean, just a very odd name for a winery, and then some other things on the label would lead us to believe that these guys are on psychedelic drugs. But the wine was pretty good, actually. I have to say, it even got better on the second day. A bit of a green herb and spice note to the white peach and pear fruit, kind of unique for me for Semillon. But maybe that's because the wine's only 11.7% alcohol. But really savory nature even on the nose. And still had some of that richness that the Semillon grape does have. A little slight oily texture and that green herb and peppery spice coming through on the finish. Quite rich. I don't know that I would guess it's 11.7%, but a really excellent example of Semillon, $30 a bottle. All right, Francois Villard, some Vin de Pays wines up next, or actually Vin de France, which these wines are from the Northern Rhone, but I guess they're just outside of the boundaries. That's why they have to call them Vin de France. And this is a Merlot, the first wine, and it's from Francois' own vineyards. Lagarines means the rabbits. I guess there's a lot of rabbits in the vineyard, very prominent there. And he makes about 40,000 bottles of this wine, so quite a bit. Notes of barnyard and fresh earth, some fine herbs to the dark cherry and plum fruit. Really fresh and clean red with a nice zesty finish, those earth and herb notes to the dark berry fruit. Short but pleasant finish, a very good little wine at $16.50. And then the Syrah Lapel, the Syrines, and this is on the top of the slopes of Saint Joseph, so just outside of the appellation again. That's why it's called Vin de France. And because of the elevation, well, they have some granite here, so similar minerality to this wine as you find in Saint Joseph, some fresh earth and a little animal and savory herbs to the dark plum and cherry fruit, dried floral notes here as well. Nice complexity for an entry-level wine, only 12% alcohol, so a little light in the alcohol Richter scale, and a bit of green and herbal note on the tongue, some light savory finish, short but pleasant. I like the Merlot better. All right, the Chateau Moulin de Cabernet from the Medoc. Wow, this is a great little value. $15 a bottle, 2009 vintage Bordeaux. This is from the Medoc, folks. This is where most of the great values in Bordeaux are coming out. And it's a 60-40 Cabernet Merlot blend. And it's from the northern part of the Medoc. It's got some dark tobacco spice to the blackcurrant, cassis, and plum-like fruits. Some peppercorn and dark earth notes. A good amount of that dark currant berry fruit showing up on the tongue. Some ripe and round tannins. This 2009 vintage featuring very ripe tannins. A good amount of dark spice and earth rounding out the finish. Even better on the second day, a $15 bottle of Bordeaux. Wow, that wine will be in the store shortly. We did pick it up. And then a 2007 vintage Bordeaux, the Pagodes de Cause, the second wine of Côte d'Estournel. And this is 2007 vintage, man. I don't know how we're going to sell this wine for $75 a bottle. It is a nice little bottle of wine, but, really light and easy drinking vintage, these 2007s. Has some cigar box spice and milk chocolate, roasted coffee notes, so the red currant, berry fruits, really showing nicely even on the second day. And this wine's got smooth and round tannins, some nice fruit, some coffee notes, tobacco spice. A very good, borderline excellent wine on the second day, but very expensive for a second wine, $75. All right, that's what I had to drink with our buddy Florent from Vinecraft. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.